Muslim girls.
Got a feeling that has something to do with the timing here. So just a little thought there. Folks, with us right now is Anthony Romero, Executive Director, of the ACLU, which sued to have the photos released. And in Washington, Mark Thiesed, he's a visiting fellow at the Hoover Institution, a public policy research center at Stanford University. He also was a speechwriter for President George W. Bush and served under former Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld. Now, Anthony, are you betrayed by the president?
Absolutely. And I don't believe that the president really fully believes himself what he said today. If these photos are not sensational or incendiary, then why hold them back?
So what are you basing it on? Why is he doing this?
Why? I think number one is he's afraid of the partisan squabble that's going to come out when the photos are released and they are incendiary. He'll be pushed into a corner to prosecute crimes that did happen. Those photos are going to show torture on Bush's watch. Obama wants to duck the ball on that one. He wants to turn forward and not look back. And these photos are going to pull him back by his coattails and require him to prosecute crimes.
But they claim some of these people have already been prosecuted. Is that untrue?
And that's not true. That's the second piece about his segment. The highest-ranking person who's been prosecuted for torture and abusive techniques is a lieutenant colonel who was acquitted. Don't give me that. We've studied these. This is a case we filed 6 years ago, before the photos came out of Abu Ghraib. We've been fighting mightily with the Bush administration to get transparency, accountability, prosecutions. We voted for change.
Okay,
this is more of the same.
I've been hearing some
this is more of the
coming out
same.
of Washington. Mark, seems like you want to jump in there.
Sure, absolutely. Well, this is he's right that these are sensational and incendiary, and that's exactly why the president changed his mind. He listened to his military commanders, and he didn't release the photos. If these photos had been released, within 2 seconds flat, they would have been up on jihadi websites, and Al-Qaeda would be using them to incite violence. Excuse me, let me finish. And incite violence against the United States.
Don't you think they're going to see the light of day someday?
Excuse me, can I get a word in, please?
Mark, go right ahead. Go right ahead.
And so what these photos are is proof that the system of military justice works. Every one of these photos was taken from an investigation of somebody who had committed an abuse and was brought before the system of military justice.
Anthony,
there are
this
400.
isn't just a policy question. This is a
Mark,
legal
hold on
question.
1 second. Lisa, go ahead.
It's a legal question that's already been ruled upon by 2 courts, which have rejected these national
Correct.
security
The
arguments
president doesn't get to overrule
and said the
independent
photos
judiciary.
have to be released. So is this likely to end up in the U.S. Supreme Court?
Absolutely, you betcha. We're taking it
Do you
right to
feel
the Supreme
confident
Court.
in the U.S. Supreme
Absolutely,
Court?
absolutely. Look, you have a block of liberals. You have a block of conservatives. You have some conservatives that believe in the First Amendment and freedom of speech. I'm willing to take my role with those dice.
Mark, are you ready to go to the Supreme Court with
Now,
this?
let me interject this one before we go. Mark,
the show here?
the photos are not incendiary. What's incendiary is the commission of torture and abuse that happened under Bush's watch.
no
And what's
systematic
incendiary
torture.
is criminals get away.
Can I say something, please?
Mark, go ahead.
Is this the ACLU hour?
Mark,
Listen,
go ahead.
Listen, the fact is there are 400 individuals who have been disciplined and prosecuted as a result of abuses. This system of military justice works, and there was no systematic abuse. You're absolutely wrong, Mr. Romero, and you know why? I can prove it to you. Because in 2004, there was a bipartisan commission led by Secretary Schlesinger, which investigated this very question and found that there was no systematic abuse, and that of the 50,000 people up to that point that had been gathered up in the war on terror and put in prison, less than 1/10% had any viable claim of abuse.
Did they see these
and
photos?
those are the people who were being investigated and who the photos were of, and these photos release was going to set up Al-Qaeda to launch attacks on the United States and kill American troops, and the president did the right thing by keeping them back.
Mark, I want to ask you a question. This is Erica Hill in New York, because there's a lot of discrepancy as to what these photos actually show. But the president did say today they're not particularly sensational, and there's a Pentagon official who said to the New York Times they are humiliating but not as provocative as Abu Ghraib. We all know what happened and what the reaction was to Abu Ghraib. If these pictures are not as provocative, could they really be so bad to release?
Well, clearly the president thought so. He's seen the photos, and he made a judgment that they were. The judgment of our military commanders was that they would be. But listen, here's the problem. What's happening is there are 2 organizations that want these photos released: Al-Qaeda and the ACLU, and it's for the reason is they want to spread a lie that there is a systematic torture and abuse by the United States government.
Mark,
factually
Anthony,
incorrect.
go right ahead.
You cannot compare the American
out.
Civil Liberties Union with the Al-Qaeda, sir, with all due respect.
No, you have
we
to-
are Americans
Mark, 1 second.
who
Go ahead,
believe
Anthony.
in transparency and accountability of government.
you're-
We have labored mightily to make sure that the truth is known. When crimes
you're
are
not trying to get
committed,
the truth out.
crimes should be prosecuted.
And they
frankly,
are. There
I
would be no
willing to-
photos
No,
if the
I'd be
crimes
willing
weren't
to do
being
this. I'm willing to
prosecuted.
do
There would be
this.
no photos.
I don't want to see these photos. If Attorney General Holder exercises the independence of his office and appoints a special prosecutor who will look at these photos and prosecute the crimes, I'm willing to sit back and let him do his job.
No photos
Mark,
if there wasn't a system of military justice.
Mark Thiessen, we're out of time. Mark, thank you very much. Anthony Romero, we certainly appreciate it. Thank you very
pleasure.
much.
Thank you
Folks,
very
we'll
much.
be going to the CNN Severe Weather Center in a few minutes for the latest on tonight's tornado damage in Missouri. We're learning